All right, and we are recording once again. Good morning, Ken.
Good morning, Fenton.
How are you doing, brother?
Doing amazing.
That's the word of the day. Amazing. All right, let's get into it. Welcome to Products of Circumstance, everybody. The new podcast with Ken Skeen and myself, Fenton Joseph. We discuss mental health and mindset matters through the lens of Black men. We cover topics like family and relationship trauma, relationships with money, self-worth. I love me. Positive thinking, gratefulness, and so much more. This show is unscripted, unfiltered, and mostly unedited. We choose our topics randomly. Only Ken knows what we're going to talk about. But before we do get into the topic of the day, please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and one of these days I'm actually going to put something there. Figure that out. And most of all, if you get something out of this, please share it with somebody so that they can be impacted as well. All right, Ken, what's the topic of the day, my brother?
All right, so topic of the day is going to be 24 hours. What do you do with your 24 hours in a day to better yourself, excel, to change your path or walk your path? You know, what do you do in your 24 hours? Because everyone has the same 24 hours. What are you doing with yours other than making excuses, of course? Of why you're not succeeding or why you are succeeding or why you're going for your goals, you know, on the path of life, as we say, right?
Yeah.
So
you mean we don't all have the same amount of time in our day? Some people are more productive even though they have the same amount of time?
Oh, God forbid, right? All right, so people do say sometimes, right? And I've been a victim of this as well. I don't have enough time. And we have to really stop telling ourselves we don't have enough time. And there are people that work many hours. They're not just a regular 8-hour shift. It's a 12, 13, 14, 15-hour shift. I understand you're tired. But what are you doing with your 24 hours? You know, maybe you do have a day off. What are you doing that day? I understand you have to rest, but are you working on a side business or a side hustle? Are you working on maybe reading that book and learning something new? You know, something nonfiction, people, please. There's so much. There's so much in this world to learn about. There's so much in this world to learn about. We don't always have to pick up a fiction novel. All right, I understand that everyone wants to go into La La Land once in a while just to turn off the real world, and that's fine. But once in a while, pick up a book where you can learn something new. Actually, Fenton, there was a book you brought up a couple episodes ago. You said you read DJ Khaled's book.
Yes.
My family and I recently had to take a quick weekend trip for a family function. And I bought DJ Khaled's book. Actually, when we ended that episode, I went on Amazon, got the book, and read it on the plane ride there and back. And I think I have maybe another 20 pages left. I couldn't put it down. Yeah. And I'm not promoting his book. I'm not getting paid for his book. I'm just saying, just for motivational reasons, I think it's a quick read. Yeah. I think people need to just pick up that book. All right. He tells his story and you understand why he says we the best. And, you know, he calls people they, that those are the haters. Those are the naysayers. He calls them. But we the best. I was one of those people that would be like, we the best. Why do you say it all the time? Another one. People like to make the jokes. Another one. All right. Read that book. And you'll be saying it too.
Read the book.
Yeah, I mean what you do in the 24 hours of your day, that man right there, he shows you what he did and what he does to this day and the motivation he has for himself. Because sometimes you have to be your own motivator, right? But yeah, so that's going to be the discussion for the day.
They don't want us to win. They didn't believe in us. God did. That is my guy, man. He's just got this infectious energy. Everything is positive. Everything is I can. There's no negative talk. You know, the stuff you and I talk about, being positive, speaking in the affirmative. Like that stuff matters. And he just embodies that. We the best. Come on. It's like, what else is there? We're the best. Best is at the top. That's it. I'm at the top. And I love the fact that he has that type of personality where nothing gets him to stay down. He's human. I'm sure he has his days or his moments where he's like, all right, took a L, but he seems like the type of person that'll just turn it around. I never met the guy. I don't know him from Adam, but after reading his book and I watched a lot of his videos, like I definitely emulate that, And I'll say this, and I said it before in another episode, but in case you didn't catch it, there was a time after reading his book when I said, you know what, Olive Branch Digital, my web design company, I started saying, we make simply the best WordPress websites in Westchester. And inside of a year, won the award for best web development in Westchester. Right? Thank you. And thank you for voting. Like, if you believe you're the best, eventually you will be. But back to the 24 hours, this is a topic I could talk about all day long. You see what I did there? 24-hour fun. Right now up on my screen, I have my daily success tasks. All right. I sat down and I made a list of things that I need to do daily in order to be successful.
What are those?
So I've got it broken down into Olive Branch Digital, my web design company, Schools Over Now What, my business podcast, Products of Circumstance, this podcast, music, and then education and health. So I've got different things that I'm focusing on, and these are the things that I need to do in each of these areas if I'm going to be successful. Now, first things first is you have to define what you want a successful day to look like. Mm-hmm. Right? No one can do that for you. You have to sit down and you say, okay, what are my goals? What are my objectives? Where am I going? And then you reverse engineer and you say, okay, well, what do I need to do to get there? And then you look at the 24 hours in the day and say, all right, how am I going to allocate my time to these tasks to help me hit my goals and be successful? So for me, it's things like managing my clients' websites. Every single day, I need to spend some time looking at my clients' websites because they pay me money to do that. It's a job, right? I have a business, but it's my job. So I have to set aside time to do my job and make sure that I'm performing at a high level there so that my client sites aren't going down and that they're happy. So I spend time doing that. I spend time on business development. I spend time on getting new projects. I spend time on current projects that I have. I'm actually building websites at any given time. And I actually have like time limits. Like I'm going to spend an hour doing this or 30 minutes doing that. So that way I know exactly what to do with my time. I never have to think about what should I be doing right now. It's on the list. It's right there. If you want to get really detailed, you can have a calendar and you can break down on your calendar, exactly how you're going to spend the time every day. Make sure you build in lunch and breaks and stuff like that. But I'm not going to be exhaustive with it. But for each of the different areas where I want to succeed, I have very specific tasks. And I'll just say this. Let me look at like for podcasts, right? Mm-hmm. I have create a clip, schedule the clip, and I have a list of the things that I have to do in order to achieve that task. Because it's not enough to just say, I want to do this. You have to get specific and you have to break it down to make sure that if I said, I want to read more, okay, what does that mean? How many more pages are you going to read every day? Are you going to read more pages of one book or multiple books? So for me, I have 3 books and I need to read 2 pages of each book every single day. And I have a stack. They're next to my desk. Well, I must have moved them. They're probably on my coffee table right now. But I've got 3 books. One is like a spiritual life hack book. One is a YouTube algorithm book. And the other one is, I can't remember exactly what the third one is, but it's probably something related to like marketing because I love marketing. Okay. And I just read 2 pages. I don't force myself to do 3, to do 4. Let me finish this chapter. I don't do that. I say I'm going to read 2 pages. And I fold the little tab on the top of the page and I close the book and I move on to book number 2, move on to book number 3, and then I'm done. And I've found that even though I'm only reading 2 pages, if you're reading like, good books, there's a lot of information in those 2 pages. And I've been able to take a little bit of stuff that I've learned and apply it that same day just from reading 2 pages out of those 3 books. And since they're 3 different topics, I'm learning 3 different things.
You're making it digestible.
It's got to be easy to do, otherwise you're not going to stick with it. If you say in my 24 hours, I'm going to do Herculean things.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I don't think it's going to work. My experience has been in your 24-hour day, figure out how to do a bunch of little things really well and consistently. It's the whole, brick by brick thing, right? Like you don't build a wall, you build a brick. Good. I see you want to.
No, I'm repeating it.
Okay.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. I do that. That's how I remember things.
Yeah, it's like, okay, so there's this book, Atomic Habits, which I never read. But I give you the cliff notes because I get the cliff notes. The moral of the story is get a little bit better every day. That's one of the things from the book is try to get like, I don't know, it's like 10% better every day or whatever percentage is. Don't be mad if I botch it up.
Right.
Try to get a little better every day. So for me, before we got on the call, I was like, I'm down like 7.5 pounds in like the past month. For me, getting better every day is making a good choice for my nutrition instead of a bad choice. It's saying, all right, if I'm fasting until 1 o'clock, dude, when I get that hunger pang at 11 a.m., it's like, all right, don't go in the kitchen and give up the fast and make something. Unless I'm like, like really dying, like I need to like eat. But I will just make the choice, find something else to do, which is another thing. And I'm sorry, I'm gonna talk for like 5 more minutes and then I'll give it back because I know I can suck up oxygen. After you figured out what you want to do with your day, I think you'll probably find that there may be distractions that pop up in those 24 hours that keep you from doing the things that you actually know you need to be doing. So what I try to do is I try to set up alternative behaviors for those distractions. So I was on an Instagram sabbatical actually for like 30 days and I just kind of installed Instagram back on my phone like yesterday. And I can tell that first of all, I'm already in a much better mental space because my mindset is stronger. I'm making better decisions. So when I feel like going to Instagram, instead of doing the thing that I'm supposed to be doing, maybe I should be making like sending some emails or something. I'm like, it's too much mental work. I'll just go on Instagram, and scroll aimlessly, instead. Because that's what people do. Listen, people, you have to understand that like it's true. Your brain hates you. All right. Like you're under attack by your own thoughts. Your brain doesn't want you to do the work. So you have these 24 hours and you know exactly what you have to do because you figured it out. You made a schedule. You made the success tasks for the day. And then you don't do it. Why? Because your thoughts are saying, this is a little too hard. Let me just go on Facebook instead and see what everybody's up to. So what I'm saying is create alternative behaviors for the distractions. When you get the urge to go on Instagram, do something else. Pick up the book. Read your 2 pages. Get that on the ground. Do some sit-ups, some push-ups. Anytime you get the urge to not do the thing that you're supposed to be doing, first and foremost, try to push through it and do it. But if you really can't help it, instead of doing something destructive that is not helpful to being better, by a couple percentage points every day, do something that will still make you better. So I didn't maybe do that email that I was supposed to send, but I also didn't waste an hour on Instagram. I read my book and I feel a little smarter. And now let me get back on task. And it's kind of like you have to do what you can until you can do better, until you can get mentally to a place where I'm just going to sit down and do the tasks that I know I need to do because that's what's going to make me successful. My God, man, at very least, if you're not going to do that, do something else that's constructive. You know what I mean?
Understood. Okay. So pretty much what you're saying is expect, what is it? Inspect what you expect.
Oh, I like that.
You like that?
Yeah.
Inspect what you expect. So if you're not following the task or you're not checking off the task, you're not inspecting it, right? So what do you expect out of that then? So if you're not following the task to go through your goals for the 24 hours in a day, don't expect much from it.
Wow.
That's not mine. That's one of my mentors. He always says it. Inspect what you expect. One of my mentors in the car business.
I like that.
Mr. Z. He knows who he is. Mr. Z.
Shout out Mr. Z. Dropping gems.
But yeah, so to follow up what you were just saying with when it comes to writing the goals down, and if you don't have, everyone say my goal is to, whatever it may be. My goal is to, finally get that Porsche. All right, what are you doing to get to that point? Do you have a game plan, right? So the 24 hours in a day, what's your game plan? Because if your game plan is to scroll on Instagram or TikTok or Facebook all day, that's not really a game plan. So what are you really doing to get to your goal? And I feel, and I'm sure you feel the same way, a lot of people don't have a game plan. They just have a goal set, but don't have a blueprint in front of them to say, this is what I got to do, right? I'm construction background, carpentry. So you got to have a blueprint, right? In front of you. The door goes here, the window goes there. You need to be 10 feet off this wall so I can put this 2.5-inch stud down to hold up this. You got to have that game plan. If you don't, the house is going to fall. Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. So if you don't make a game plan for yourself, have a vision board, have a journal, right? Be like Dora the Explorer. Where's your handy dandy notebook at? Write something down. How do you know where you're going?
Yeah.
You're walking in the dark then. You're running in the dark, really.
Whoa.
And you're going to hit something. You're going to trip on something.
Yeah, full speed ahead.
You're full speed ahead. You can be tripping on your own feet. How do you know there's not a cliff there that you might fall off of?
Wow.
Yes, I'm using these analogies, but they're real. And again, I'm not, don't think I'm perfect. There are those times I raised my hand. There's those times I'm sitting there and I just don't feel like doing something that I should be doing more productive. And I will scroll, and a 5-minute scroll turns into an hour scroll, and your eyes are burning.
I get a lot of DMs on Instagram from you, bro. And I appreciate them all the cars and everything. But I get a lot of DMs from you on Instagram.
Yeah, and I'm on there.
Look, can I say something? If we're honest with ourselves, everybody, just keep it funky. Social media is probably the thing that is destroying your productivity and sucking up most of your time. We don't live in I have to imagine, I don't have any statistics whatsoever to back any of this up, but I have to imagine that human productivity is at an all-time low. And I mean unaided by technology, right? We've created, robots and factories that can, generate amazing output of products, but human productivity, I would have to imagine, is probably at an all-time low in all of mankind. Because for the simple reason that we have more distractions than we ever have before. We are just more distracted. Social media, pick your poison. It could be TikTok, it could be Pinterest, it could be the muffins on Pinterest and the home stuff. It could be Instagram. Muffins. Well, some people are really into muffins. I don't know. Oh. What's it? Cupcakes or party muffins? That's what kids call. That's great.
You love me.
Anyway, getting distracted. My point is, we have 1,000,001 reasons not to do those tasks that are on your list every day. And I'm saying you should really take inventory, man. If you're at your job, you get there at 8:30 in the morning, you leave at 5:30. Yo, tomorrow go into work and write down how much time you spend actually working and how much time you spend doing other things. Write it down. And I bet you'd be shocked. And then you'd be like, oh, no wonder I didn't get a raise. It's obvious. I'm useless. I am of no value to this organization. And they pay me because, it's cheaper to keep her. onboarding, finding a new employee costs money. You say, well, this schlep over here, it's like, I mean, they're doing something. They're doing the bare minimum. Listen, I'm telling you, man, people need to take stock of the value that you're actually generating. One of my affirmations is that I am worthy of immense financial compensation because I generate immense value. And I read that every day. And in order for it to be true, I have to create the value. The first part is only true. I'm only worthy of compensation for the value that I create. You're not worth anything more than the value that you generate. Right? Because that's all value is like I'm creating value to somebody and they say we can hang a dollar amount on that, or I hang the dollar amount on it. If you look at if you're really keeping it honest and you look at yourself on your job, like how much value are you actually bringing, dog? Probably not as much as you think, but you want the big bucks. You're not worth the big bucks because you scrolling. So, get serious about what you're doing with your time, even on your day job. If you're an entrepreneur, it's a whole different level of mindfulness, because nobody's just going to pay you every 2 weeks just because you woke up, like you got to go out and get it. So like for me, if I'm not doing these certain things, like there's no money coming in. And then the value generation is like very, very, very obvious. I can't look to my wife and tell her that I'm creating value. She's like, really? It doesn't like where is it? Because I don't see any money. Like there's no gas in the cars, no food on the shelf. Where's the value? Right? Like I need to be able to actually make money to pay for things. What are you doing with your time? If you find yourself in a situation where you don't have the things that you want, you don't have the money in the bank account that you want, you don't have the material things that you want, you don't get to spend your time the way that you want, take a look at the value that you're creating. You probably took a dip at some point. Maybe you was doing good a while ago, but now you're a paperweight.
People do have to reflect more. Again, we speak about this. They start to flow into each other. All these episodes, but there's a reason they flow into each other. It's because it all comes back to the same thing of you, I guess, evaluating yourself when it comes to your health, when it comes to your career, when it comes to your family, when it comes to your daily tasks. What are you doing with those 24 hours, right? And that's what we're talking about here. But yes, it all flows into each other because that's what it is. That's what this whole podcast is about. Motivating, affirmations, just self-worth. It all starts to blend in because we're trying to tell you something based on our life experiences. So we're not on a pedestal, which we've said before. We're not better. I know I'm not better than someone else. I may work harder, set my own goals, but that's my life, right? Not yours. But why not better yourself for you? If you have a family, why not better yourself for your family, right? For your children? If you're taking care of loved ones like your parents or your grandparents, why not better yourself for them as well so that you can take care of them? So that's why we're saying, what are you doing in your 24 hours? And if you keep imagining all this wealth and health, right? If you're going to McDonald's 5 days a week, how is that helping your health?
Right. What restaurants are you eating at in those 24 hours?
You know what I'm saying? Like, where you going? I'm not saying you need to go to a fancy restaurant. Cook at home. At least you know what's going into your food, not a bunch of sodium.
That's a really good point, though. That's a really good point. So it also in 24 hours, right? What are you putting into your body in those 24 hours? That's something that you're doing with your 24 hours, right? Your health and your nutrition. Like, how much time did you spend exercising? So people say, I don't have time. Dude, set a timer. It's one of my favorite things to do. And people think I'm like the weirdest person on the planet. But this has helped me so much. So I'll take my phone and I'll set a timer and I'll hit start. And I'm like, this thing's reflection. Anyway, I'm like, I have 5 minutes to do this thing. And when this 5 minutes is up, I got to move on to the next thing. And don't you know, after doing that for years, I've gotten really good at estimating how long it will take me to complete a task. 5 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, half an hour, whatever it is. It's an uncanny kind of thing that I could do. I wasn't born that way. I've spent the time to actually measure how long it takes me to complete tasks so I can be more efficient and do more in my day. And I mean, I'm freakish with it, man. Like I apply that to everything, especially like with traveling. Like I'm always checking, okay, how long will it take me to get from here to there? I include time to find a parking space, time to get up to the, up the stairs to be wherever I need to be. Like things are going to come up in your day, and like you need to be prepared for that. You can't just be like, oh, well, I was late because I didn't anticipate such and such and la. Like, no, like life doesn't work that way. It's going to keep going without you. Like if you're not there, like that's your problem. Like so we're going to out of state to go see some show, right? And the show is early in the morning. And if you're not there, when the show starts, like you will be seated during intermission. And it's like a 3-hour thing. So like, that's like an hour and a half of the show is like gone. Right. So we're like, okay, you know what? It's the 3-hour drive. It's like 10 in the morning. We don't want to leave at 7 in the morning. So let's get a hotel. Let's stay overnight so that we can get up early, drive 20 minutes and be there, parked, use the bathroom, ate breakfast, standing in line, ready to go see the show that we paid, like $100 per ticket to go see. That's being wise with your time. Sometimes being wise with your time means spending money. You get to a certain place in life, like it might make sense to get a nanny. It might make sense to get a maid. It might make sense to get a driver. I remember Ryan Serhant, $1 Million Listing. He was one of the guests on our podcast early, and his thing was, I had a driver before I could really afford a driver, because the amount of time that I was spending in traffic, be it the subway or taking a cab or whatever, or driving myself, like I could be using that time doing deals. Right. Being on the phone or being on my laptop. So he hired a guy, Yuri, who's like just as famous as he is, and he drives around in his Escalade and he's doing deals. Matter of fact, he was on the podcast doing our podcast from his car, talking. And like he ended up going into one of the elevators in the building, and he's like still doing the podcast. He's on the phone with us. Like people who are good at, I want to say multitasking, but maximizing the time that they have, those are the real winners, man. And like, so for me, we're both parents. We're both married men with families. We have kids that go to school, and we need to get them to school and then, work and make sure that, everything gets done. I have from 9 to 12 every morning, my kid is in school. She does half days. So from 9 to 12, I get to work, but it's not really 9 to 12 because I drop her off at 9. I get home around 9:10, park the car, right? And then I'm like back in my desk around like 9:15, right? So I have to include 15 minutes to like actually travel. So people say, well, you have 3 hours. That's great. No, I don't. I have 2 hours and 45 minutes. Oh, but then I have to go get the kid. Right. So I don't have 2 hours and 45 minutes. I have 2.5 hours. Well, I got to use the bathroom, eat something. I actually have about 2 hours and 15 minutes. You know what I mean? Like, and you start to see.
Wait. You're eating in the bathroom?
Yes, for efficiency's sake. No, I'm just kidding.
Sorry.
There's some of you people out there that do that. I'm not judging. I'm just saying, don't do it. Don't tell me.
Go ahead. You were saying bathroom eat. Go ahead.
As you eat in the bathroom, no, as you actually start to break down how long it takes you to do every little thing. For me personally, I'm like, I actually have like 2.5 hours to be productive in the mornings. She'll take a nap sometime in the evening. I get some more work done and stuff. And I'll have her sit in front of, like her tablet every now and again, for an hour or something. But my overarching point is, look at your life and look at how much time you actually have. And by the way, sleep, right? Some people don't have enough time because freaking sleep too long. Like, get up. I was up at 6 o'clock today. If you follow me on IG, you saw I was down by the water. Okay. Here's my timer. I just set 5 minutes. Sorry. I was down by the water. I like to catch the sunrise in the mornings. Family's still asleep. It's my time. I go read, pray, hang out for a bit, walk, and then I got back home around 7. It's like 7:15ish. All right, so I'm out for about 45 minutes, and the car is ready to go for my family. I try to get everything ready. I came back home and I got breakfast ready for the kid. My wife, got the kid showered and ready. We get her dressed, and we're good. We're ready to go. I got to take my wife to the train station. Then I got to take my kid, to school. My point, I know I'm rambling a little bit, but my point is I know exactly what I'm doing with my time from the moment that I wake up. There's no questions about it. Ambiguity is bad. Ambiguity with your time is very, very, very bad. People who are successful, they have this stuff mapped out. And even if you have time to chill, you should have that time planned out. Don't just I'm going to be careful about saying this because spontaneity is good. So
yes,
if
it is.
you're like, I just need a break. I'm going to that's fine. As long as you're aware of opportunity cost. And if you say, all right, I'm not doing these tasks now, they have to get done later at this time. So like yesterday, I budgeted time to take my kid to the park after we picked her up from school. She wanted to do it.
See, but
Good.
That's okay though. No, I'm saying so. It's okay though. I know you're being your words. We're talking about an overall what someone's doing with their time in 24 hours.
Yeah.
If you have to be spontaneous, or your kid wants to go out, or your spouse want to go out, your significant other, whatever it may be, that's different. We're talking about the day to day. I'm gonna wake up. I'm gonna go to the couch. I'm gonna play some games. I'm gonna watch some TV. I'm gonna go on my Instagram. We're talking about that.
Who does that?
There are people that do that, and we know a few of them. So,
you see my face? I'm like
yeah, but don't be scared. Scared's the wrong word. Don't be worried to tell the audience it's all right to be spontaneous. It's all right to scroll on Instagram once you want to turn off your brain. It's okay, but on a daily routine,
right,
that's not okay.
Yeah,
that's not okay. Not if you're lying to yourself and saying that you're having goals. I had to cut you off on that one because I think you were too worried about what came out. It's okay to say I'm not doing anything right now, but spending time with my child. It's okay.
That's great. Yeah, absolutely. You're 100% right. And I'm glad that you said that. This is about overall mindset. This is about the big picture and how you think about things. Sometimes, you just got to zone out. Your brain is tired, whatever. Sometimes my kid is just like, hey, I want to go outside. And I'm like, all right, cool. Well, let me just finish this last thing and then let's go outside and rock out. Tonight, we make plans to go to dinner. My wife has something to do and I'm like, hey, my daughter is like, I want to go to dinner. I'm like, all right, cool. Let's do that. Yeah, let's do that. I got the whole day. I'll be productive during the day. And then this evening, it's just you and me. Let's go. And that's spontaneous, and I'm being responsible with my time during the day and crushing it, including recording this podcast, making sure that everything gets done so that I have no guilt. I can go out with my kid, have a good time, and have no guilt and know that I was really productive today. And Ken, to your point, I'm really glad that you said that. Choosing to spend time with the people that you love should be prioritized. It is productive. It has immense value because your kids will only be kids once. Your wife or your husband, they need your attention. They need your love and affection. That's good. Make time for that. Don't just work, until you're dead and then you never got to love on the people that you care about. That's lame. We need to schedule dinner, you and I.
Yes, we do. Speaking of,
yes, can't
look,
wait.
man, that was a great wrap up right there. All right, again, people, we're not telling you that everything has to be mapped on a daily basis. Just have a plan at least, though. Have a daily plan. Yeah. And once in a while, sprinkle, you got to sprinkle once in a while. Yeah, nothing wrong with that. All right.
Variety is the spice of life.
There you go.
All right, man. I appreciate you.
Appreciate you too.
And I can't wait to hang out in person.
Hell yeah.
Let's make it happen.
Love you, bro.
Love you too, man. Y'all enjoy the rest of the day. Go be responsible with your time. Peace.
Peace.